Baton Rouge, Baton Rouge. I'm gonna get me some alligator shoes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Alligator Shoes. I'm your host, Michael Hackett. Today, I have a really special guest that honestly does not need an introduction, but I'm gonna try and give him a proper one because he deserves it. You know, when people ask me, you know, who do you want to have on this podcast, and who's your dream guest or whatever it is, and I honestly say I don't have one. Like, I did this because I just want people on here that's going to be passionate about Baton Rouge. It could be a barista at French Truck. It could be a chef, a waiter. It could be a CEO. It could be anybody. So I try to stay away from having dream guests. But if you put a bullet to my head, a gun to my head and said, well, you got to pick one, this guy would be probably for sure in the top three, for sure. Just a local celebrity and a guy that I look up to, and I know a lot of other people do too. We're also, in this podcast, for those of you that are new, we're all about passing the baton. And so he was passed the baton by one of my good friends and one of his good friends, Laurie Melara, the CEO of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. So before I introduce him, I am going to tell you what Laurie Melara said about this guy, and his name's in it, so the suspense will be over shortly. People like to say that I have a lot of energy, but my enthusiasm pales to in comparison to Julio Melara. Julio's passion for life, for purpose, and for our community. I appreciate how he consistently celebrates the things that make Baton Rouge area so special, and especially how he challenges us to think bigger. After 10 minutes with Julio, you can't help but be called to be better, bigger, and bolder. Let's effing go. Julio Melara.
It's great to see you, Michael.
Welcome
That's
to
so kind of
Alligator Shoes.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. And I mean that, you know, when I started this podcast, you know, you and I have talked before about in your office about Baton Rouge, and to have you on here, you know, it really was the pinnacle in my short little stint of podcasting.
No, well, thank you. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Well, tell us, you know, everybody knows who you are, but maybe they don't know your backstory and where you came from and all your hard work to get where you are. Tell us about your family, where you're from, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, well, I'm born and raised in New Orleans, and raised by a single mom. She raised three of us. I always tell people I'm like Abraham Lincoln. Everything that I am, everything I hope to be, I owe to my mother. Yeah. My mother was my hero. And so what's funny is that when I graduated from high school, I didn't know we didn't have any money to go to college. So while all my friends were making plans, LSU and Southeastern and all these other places, I ended up working 40, 50 hours a week, and I put myself through college. But I was very fortunate because my freshman year, I found a job as a runner for $3.35 an hour, and at a new business publication called City Business. Okay. So business journals came into the U.S. in the late 70s and early 80s, and in 1983, 84, right around there, I started as a gopher. There was a brand new business journal. The irony is that a year later, my mentor is the one that told Rolf McCollister about the business journal, business in the Baton Rouge Business Report was started in 1984. Of course, I was still in college, a youngster. But I worked my way through college, and within 7 years, I became VP of sales. And then WWL Radio, the second oldest radio station in America, came and hired me away. And at the time, they were owned by the Jesuits, by Loyola University. Mm-hmm. And if you worked there, they paid for your MBA. And that's why I took the job. Well, I came in as number 7. That's the second year I was number 3. And by the third year, I became the top producer at WWL Radio, handling everything for the Saints and the LSU Tigers and Tulane Green Wave. I started a sports marketing agency. I used to handle Pat Swilling and Sam Mills.
Wow.
Worked with Morn Anderson and Archie Manning back in the day. Yeah, and so it was so much fun. And then the following year, I became the first $1 million producer in the radio industry in Louisiana. And my mentor came and hired me back because he had bought New Orleans magazine, Louisiana Life, and he wanted to get into the radio business.
I remember Louisiana.
All of them,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And so I went back and I helped run all of that. We bought 2 radio stations, but in 1997, I was just a hired gun. I wanted to do my own thing, but I married a woman from Louisiana.
There you go.
So even though I had opportunities in Chicago, Miami, and Dallas, Baton Rouge was the next closest thing. And so I came up here. I had just written my first book. And it came out. I was giving a speech here in Baton Rouge. And so I called Rolf McAllister to break bread and try and buy him. And so for the next 6 months, we had conversations. He felt he was too young to sell. I didn't want to go work for anybody else because I had the best job in media in Louisiana, in New Orleans. But a few months later, he called me back and we formed the partnership. His dad had given him seed money, and I was 30, he was 41, and we formed the partnership, and it was an incredible 25-year ride. And here I am today. We had our kids here, moved here, launched 225. It's just been this community has been so awesome, and I love Baton Rouge.
Yeah, how was it coming from New Orleans? And I guess Baton Rouge back then really wasn't Baton Rouge that we know of today.
Correct.
It's probably a little sleepier.
Oh, a lot sleepier.
And coming from New Orleans,
Yeah.
and then you've got opportunities in Chicago,
Yeah.
New York, wherever
Yeah.
else. And how did that sit with you?
Yeah, so that's a great observation. What was interesting is that I didn't understand Louisiana until I moved here, because the people in New Orleans in those days, they thought this was the country.
Right.
So there's only 3 reasons you ever came to Baton Rouge. It was called LSU football, LSU basketball, and the legislature.
Right.
Because those are the
Not even
Shaquille
baseball
O'Neal.
back then.
Not even baseball back then. Exactly, right? And so I moved here, and people here would go, "Oh, you lived in New Orleans? How could you put up with all that crime and craziness?" And so I began to understand. Then I go to Lafayette. That's a whole different thing, and
Right. the
the way they do business. So it was a transition, but one that was very refreshing, to be candid with you, because the way I would describe it back in those days, it was a small, big city. Let me reverse engineer that. It was a small city that was really a bigger country feel, if you will. So and of course, as you know, the dynamics of our community, it was growing, and Katrina changed everything.
For sure. Yeah.
Changed everything.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you a quick story that really ties into this. Is that we made the decision. Matter of fact, this year we're celebrating next month. 20 years ago, I launched 225 magazine.
That is incredible. I remember it. Like I remember the launch because I was so excited. It felt like we were a big city.
Yes.
Honestly, once that magazine launched, because I guess I was 20 years ago. I was 32 at the time, and kind of in the scene a little bit,
right? Yeah,
wanting
sure.
to do. And Baton Rouge was booming, and then that magazine launched, and it changed everything.
Yeah. Well, and remember, you're so right. The Shaw Center had opened up, right? We made the decision, and I was speaking to you off camera. We saw that the older people in those days had In Register, City Social, La Vie. The younger people had Tiger Weekly and Reveille. But where did young professionals get their information to connect, places to go listen to music,
right.
and so there was a void. And we had a hunch. We tested it. We did a couple of focus groups, and then we decided on the name 225. There were 2 other publications at the time around the country that had that area code, and we pulled the trigger in February of 2005. So a lot of people think we launched this after Katrina, but the plan was already out. I hired an editor, I hired a sales team, and our goal was to launch in November of 2005.
Really?
So we were out touting the streets, calling on advertisers, getting our storyboards. We had a prototype, and then Katrina hit, and the town changed overnight, and the issue was already underway. And so the very first cover story of 225 magazine was, can Baton Rouge become cosmopolitan? I remember it was yesterday. That was the cover story because the Tsunami had just opened up too, right? The restaurant on top of the roof. We had our opening party there.
A 4-hour wait to get a table.
That's exactly, back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's, we went fast, and then, it's been slowly evolving and transformation and kind of navigating, a lot of growth and infrastructure in the community. And with more growth comes more problems, right? Not just traffic, but you got crime and all these other issues that, most cities have around the nation.
Yeah. There's so many things I want to ask you because I'm kind of jumping ahead because I do want to know about all the publications but I don't want to miss this kind of jumping point. I just went to your event on Wednesday, the Top 100, which was amazing. Do you have the sense that if you compare that era that you were just talking about, I kind of feel like we could get back there as a jumping off point? Like
yes,
we're on the cusp again.
Yes.
And maybe this time we won't falter.
Yes. Absolutely. People do not recognize at this pivot point that we are right now. It's a new generation. And when I moved here, there was just a different generation that was running things, that was ahead of things. And I think remember that it's just been over the last 10, 15 years where you've had, it was at one time 5 generations of the workplace, first time in the history of American labor force. Today we have 4, right? So you got, you still got your baby boomers, you got your millennials, you got your Gen X's, and you got Gen Z now. And the leadership transition that's been happening right at could be BRAC, could be the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, the mayor, could be the council, downtown development. I mean, you get all these entities that are important when you're trying to transform a community. So you have new bodies there, and I think right now, everything from this LSU arena to the riverfront development, Plan Baton Rouge 3 now, we're still, and this is a source of frustration, we're still one of the last cities along the river, the Mississippi River, that hasn't developed their riverfront.
Right.
But that's going to change, exactly what you're saying. So I think, again, a rising tide raises all boats. I think, if we get this LSU arena done, which I believe is very, very critical. I know there's a lot of nuances and again that have to happen, but Baton Rouge does not lack jobs, and we don't lack high-paying jobs, good-paying jobs, and unlike other cities, not only jobs, but the cost of living is fantastic.
That's very good,
right, compared to everybody else. But what we do lack right now is amenities for our younger people, right? And I think this is why the LSU Arena, there's a second phase, the entertainment district, which would have restaurants and would have music with a great police station right there to make, I think, LSU even safer. And then, you go down the corridor to downtown, the riverfront development. And right now there's talk about a possible true convention hotel that can handle 1,000 or 2,000 people. That's a game changer. We don't have enough restaurants or facilities that could handle that type, of visitors, that volume. And then there's a beautiful plan on, there's a developer that's working on Memorial Park to redevelop that whole area, a new stadium, professional soccer team. I mean, in my 28 years in this community, I've not sensed the energy, the passion, the momentum. I think we're at an important cusp, and I think that the greatest impediment could be ourselves. So we got to make sure that the private sector, the public sector, our elected officials, those business leaders, that we're pushing in the same direction. No more egos or logos in the way.
Right.
But what's best for the community, what's best for the next generation, so that our region can reach its full potential.
Right. And you mentioned big companies, but also people like me. We need, and you've been preaching on this forever, I know, we need to change the way we speak about ourselves. We deserve this.
Yes.
And this is what this podcast is about. If we can do a grassroots effort to just change our narrative around how great this place really is. And that's what I want from this podcast. But like, we need to get excited. We deserve it.
Yes. I'll tell you a quick story. 2 years ago, I'm on the national board of the National Business Journals. And so the last 2 summer conferences, Detroit and Chicago. Oh, and the third one was Columbus, Ohio. And because of who we are, even here in Baton Rouge, we're one of the premier business journals in America, right? Headquartered here. Yep. A lot of our board of directors from all over the nation wanted to come to Baton Rouge.
I've heard you tell the story.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're saying it.
Yeah. And I'm on the plane on the way back. The board votes to have their conference here, and I'm going, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Because the conference is in June. There's no football. It's hot. LSU's pretty much closed, right? It's not. And literally, we put on the best show. We had a taste of Louisiana. We had it down at the Louisiana State Museum. Visit Baton Rouge helped us with the entertainment, the hosting. And the reason I like to share that story is I got 3 of the nicest notes. My buddy from Boston told me, Baton Rouge is one of the most charming cities. I've traveled all over the country, one of the most charming cities that I've ever been to. Another one said, I've never been to a city that's got friendlier people with so much good food. And the third guy, the guy from Ohio, said, Baton Rouge is a special place. And you know what struck me there, Michael? I don't hear anybody that lives in this community ever describe our city with those adjectives. Right. And we are our own worst enemies because we don't see the beauty, the possibilities, and all the good things. We're always focused on, since I've lived here, the same thing people talk about, traffic. You want to see real traffic? I just got back from LA. 6 lanes, 1 minute, a mile, literally, right? Real traffic, go to Houston. Real traffic, go to Connecticut, right? Crime is an issue all over America, every major city, right? You got to, and again, public education. We got a lot of strides to continue to improve, but we're making strides, and that's an issue in a lot of different, communities. Not making excuses, but what I am saying is that you can't build off of what's wrong. You got to build on what's right. So what are the assets that we have? What are we doing right? Yeah, we got to deal with these, and we are, right? And if everybody gets involved and does their part and contributes, right, to that vision, to that momentum, but we get a lot more done.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. We do a really good job of traveling to Omaha, Nebraska, or Clemson, South Carolina, and bringing our culture there. And people love it. I mean, for the for the most. I mean, especially in Omaha, they love it. And then when we get home, we have a new executive to come to town from Austin, Texas, and the first thing anybody asks them, "What in the world are you doing here? Why would you leave? Name your city to come here?" And it's embarrassing. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I did too.
And we need to say, welcome. You're in a great place.
Yep.
And you're going to love it.
Well, and the only way, I have so much clarity on this issue, and this is why I'm so passionate. And I have clients, I have friends. People send me, the young people. I just got an email this morning. Bring them to me. Can you please tell my son and daughter why they should stay in Baton Rouge? It's easy for me. Easy for me. My daughter went to LSU. I have 2 sons. One went to TCU, another went to Sanford and Birmingham. I got one back. The other one's having a good time. But I'm one of these parents. I want my kids to come back.
Me too.
And the reason I do, not only do we want family, which is one of our unique things in our culture, but I believe it's going to be the young people, the next generation is going to help transform, right? I think it's going to help solve the racial issues because they don't see things the way they see it. Mm-hmm. They've been raised with a different set of lenses. Mm-hmm. I also think that the innovation and the idealism of purpose is extremely important. And I just know that I know. And one of the reasons why is because my Executive Leadership Academy, I now have almost 600 alumni. And most of these people that have been through our curriculum, anywhere from 30 to 60 years old, but most of them are 40 or 50, they want to change Baton Rouge. They want it to help to reach its potential. And they just don't know how, right? But I always explain to them, hey, starts with getting involved, right? Get involved in politics. If the good people stay back and they don't get involved in elections, right, and all that, that's an important component because you need good public policy to help the private sector, right? That combination, can help us flourish. And so everywhere I'm meeting so many young people, they haven't been tainted, right? And so they believe, they know it's going to take hard work, and so I'm hopeful.
Me too.
I really am.
We had, I know you're friends with Russell Mosley. He was on the podcast with his son Jack recently. His son Jack is 19 years old, graduated from Catholic High, is a junior, I think a sophomore junior at LSU in a fraternity in student government. When he graduated from Catholic High, he told Russell, I am going to graduate from Catholic High. I'm going to get my LSU degree. I'm going to go to LSU Law School. And then I am going to encourage my friends to come back because we're going to make it better. And so that was the premise of having him there.
Yeah.
And Russell was gleaming with pride. And we talked about, of course, his family history and all that kind of stuff. But to your point, these young people get it.
Yes.
And we need to encourage them.
That's right.
To keep on getting it.
That's right.
And another thing I want to point on too that I've thought about a lot. You mentioned the arena. This is going to be kind of a downer, but we're losing a lot of our kids to other SEC schools because of better scholarships. It's cheaper. Safety is an issue. In my opinion, doing this arena solves a lot of those issues: the safety, the cleanliness, the police presence,
the amenities,
restaurants.
Yes.
It is going. At 52 years old, I guess the closest thing I can relate to, and you've already mentioned it, was the Shaw Center. Which is a big deal.
Right.
I've been on the board.
But that was 20 years ago.
Exactly.
We haven't had anything to galvanize the community in 20 years.
I think that's my point too.
It is,
right?
And right now, again, we got to go to New Orleans or Lafayette to go to good concerts.
Right.
Those acts just don't come here.
Yeah.
So not only do you have a world-class facility for your sports teams, right? Because that would house LSU men's basketball, LSU men's women's basketball, gymnastics. But now you have a venue where concerts. We don't have to go travel that way. Matter of fact, they're going to want to come here.
They are going to want to come here.
Right here.
Now they're going to stop.
That's right.
In Baton Rouge, going from Houston to New Orleans, and go, oh, this place is cool.
Right.
I mean, how exciting is that?
Yeah. And I think that would help lead. Listen, I've read two different studies. The River Center is old and antiquated. I know some people are going to get upset to hear me say, but it needs to be torn down. It would be throwing good money after bad money. Good money after bad money. And a convention hotel there would be a gem that would help the new riverfront development, bring more traffic, more people, more amenities. It's amazing the domino effect. And so what I'm seeing, we talk a lot about economic development, but this is community development together. So when you have economic development and community development together, man, it is a game changer for a city.
Right.
So that's the possibility that's sitting out there for us.
Yeah.
But we got to get rid of the limited mindset, the cynical mindset. We got to get rid of our egos and logos. And one thing I have noticed in people, everybody's trying to look credit. Who cares who gets the credit? Well, we got to do things for the right reason for the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it seems like our leaders are getting it. Like, you mentioned Brack and Braff and Visit Baton Rouge, all these leaders. It seems like we're starting to row the boat all together. I hope so, and I feel it, and you know better than me. But
yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I think there's more collaboration happening than I've seen in a long time.
A lot more communication,
and that's what it takes, right? Because you got to communicate, and you do have to to collaborate. And then people understanding to stay in their lanes, yet be aligned, right? And so I'm seeing more of that than in the past.
Yeah.
For so many years, most of the decisions that were made in this town went through one entity. And there were some conversations here and there, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah. I want to shift gears on you a little bit because we've talked about 225. I'd love to talk about business report and register. What all your events that you're doing are mind blowing. I'm looking at the camera now. I do a lot of events. with like 50 to 100 people. You do a lot of events with several thousand every 2 to 3 weeks. Your team must be amazing, first of all, obviously. How do you keep it together? How do you keep on enticing people? How do you stay ahead of the curve, stay relevant, stay hip and cool at the same time, also, traditional in certain aspects, but I mean, like we were just talking about 40 under 40, how you keep that fresh. I mean, like how do you do it?
Well, we're extremely fortunate. We have an incredible team. We have so many talented people. And, we live in an experience economy. So when it comes to, we really sweat the details. I mean, people don't see the sausage being made, man, but I'm a stickler. We start on time, we end on time. The details, the collaboration, and after every event, we have a postmortem and, hey, what can we do to enhance the customer experience, the participant experience, the sponsor experience? What we've discovered, right, is that if you give value and you leave there feeling good and lift it up, I mean, that's one of the things that we talk about. How do we want everybody that comes to our events to feel? And it doesn't matter if it's 225 Business Report and Register or 1012 Industry Report, which we're launching the Louisiana Energy Awards next month for the first time. We want to celebrate innovation and progress in that sector. Everything we do is niches. And so we really do a lot of planning, a lot of brainstorming. There's a lot of what I call creative friction in those meetings.
Which is good, right?
Right, absolutely. You got to have it,
yeah.
Right? I mean, I learned that term from good to great, right?
Yeah.
Creative friction. The great ones have creative friction. And so I think that's an important component. But I think at the end of the day, I would tell you, I think that the foundation, there's two types of businesses, transactional and relational, and we're all relational, man. We just want to bring value. We want to serve. We want to lift others up. This business now, after I bought out Rolf, my partner, 4 years ago, I'm focused on what I call the triple bottom line. That's my focus, and it works this way. You got to have economic impact, right? Because without profit, you can't fund the mission, you can't give raises, you can't expand, you can't have the best resources. But that's where 90% of the companies stop, because it's all about profit and money. I think you got to have social impact. How do we lift others up? What do we do in our community, right, to help others? And then the third one, really spiritual impact. For me, that's an important component. Is there something different of the way we serve? Is there something different regarding our culture and the way we treat one another, right? And it's hard when, because it's all three of those are hard, because with more success comes more growth, more people, more problems, right? We all come with baggage in life. And so what we try and do now, we spend a lot of time making sure that the values align, right? Because it just our organization may not just be a fit, right? But if you're not willing to do, I don't ask any of my people to do anything that I wouldn't do. So whether it be getting on the floor, cleaning the floor, sweeping, I mean, whatever it takes, that's our models. Where there's a will, there's a way. And we just want to make sure that we're serving in a way that most companies don't, right? It's almost what differentiates Raising Cane's at Chick-fil-A, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that experience at their drive-thru is just different than the rest of them, right?
Right.
And that's really what our standard is, right? I tell our team, our quest for excellence will never stop.
Yeah. You mentioned, helping people rise, and then your very next breath was, and maybe it's a spiritual way as well. I keep on going back to my podcast. We just had Father Josh on.
Oh, I love Father Josh.
It was just amazing. You talk about helping people rise up through spirituality. Again, that's an example of the people that we have in this community, in this city. And there are nonprofits helping them we have such passionate people that live in Baton Rouge, really passionate people, and that love it. And that do such a good job for our city, and helping recognize them is also really important as well. And I know that's kind of part of your mission as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I don't think one time at our Executive Leadership Academy, I was interviewing Stevie Toops, our mutual
love
friend
Stevie, yeah.
from Turner Industries, and I had a lady raise her hand, and she said, "Could you be a level 5 leader without faith?" And I said, "Absolutely not. You can never be a level 5 leader without faith." And the reason why is we're selfish, left to ourselves. It's all about me, 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 me.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have that spiritual component, right, you understand it's not about you, right? It's about others,
Right.
and it's about your relationship and your journey and your faith with God. And to me, that's a very, very important component of who I am, and why we do the things we do and the way we do them. And even when I go speaking, I've written 5 books, and I still about 20 to 25 times I'll travel to big conferences, and I think as I've gotten a little bit older, I subscribe to St. Francis of Assisi, who said, "Preach the gospel, if necessary, use words." Right? I think your life is the embodiment and should speak louder than words. But don't ask the question if you don't want the answer, right? Because I'm gonna give you the answer. Because again, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't by the grace and mercy of God. And I tell people all the time, look, I know my journey may not be yours, but here's what I've learned, Michael, about humanity. Every person, regardless of background, religion, even if you're an atheist or whatever, everybody's existential. Mm-hmm. I've not met one person on this planet that's not looking for meaning and purpose. Mm-hmm. We're all looking for meaning and purpose. And I think for me, the day I discovered that why, right? I tell people all the time, the 2 most important days in your life is the day you were born and the day you discover why. And when you discover your purpose, it's a game changer. I mean, I have so much clarity of who I am, why I'm here, and where I'm going, that it just changed my life when I got that revelation, that discernment.
Yeah. I have interviewed a lot of people, and this podcast was never meant to be a spiritual podcast at all. I mean, obviously I'm a spiritual person and a believer, and that was never my intention. But what you just said, Brandon back there, our producer, can attest to this. Everybody has said the exact same thing that what you said, and they're all leaders in their own special way. And so, again, what you just said just verified why we're here. So I appreciate
awesome,
that,
man, for sure.
One thing we have not talked about in register, which is I remember my mom getting the in register when I was like in high school. Tell us a little bit about in register.
Sure, absolutely.
It's a fun. I mean, people. We talk about the coolness of 225, the intellectual, everything that is all business report, and then the unregistered. That is been
around a long time.
That's an important part of what you do.
Well, so interesting. If you think about it this time, we're big on innovation, right? I mean, I get asked, man, how even when you were up, how you guys been so successful for 4 decades? Our people and our ability to innovate, right? And 3 of our brands started from scratch, all organic. Business Report, 225, and 1012 Industry Report. They're all niches, right? But in Register is the only acquisition. Mm-hmm. And in 2009, we acquired it. And then we did some readership surveys. And we found out at the time it was just, the term was social rag, just meaning is more pictures of philanthropic events. But what we found out through our surveys that people wanted even more lifestyle in Baton Rouge, homes and entertaining. And so, man, we hired Ashley Gordon as our editor.
Love it. We graduated from high school together.
Oh, you did? Oh, no wonder she's brilliant. No wonder y'all are
girl.
brilliant. Yeah, she's amazing.
Amazing.
She's awesome. And she took that magazine to another level. Really, the content, the eyeballs.
Brilliant writer.
And we
Funny.
redesigned it. Oh my God, yeah, brilliant writer.
Brilliant writer.
Yeah, she really is. And it is a staple. It literally, of course, not only do we cover philanthropic, but people's involvement in civic affairs here in our community. And again, it's a lifestyle, right? I mean, our homes, we do so much. And particularly in Register really went from here to here with Ashley. Then during COVID, it went from here to here because they couldn't travel. So that year, the renovations and the backyards became bigger and the pools became more elaborate and the lifestyles, right? I mean, and so it has been it is our staple And I'll tell you, we do in collaboration with our Best Dress, right? That's one of our big events that the prep, for the gala. So that's always one of our great cover stories there.
Oh, we were just there. Right?
It was there. That's right. That's right. Right. The Women with a Cause is another great one. We do the Giving Guide, right, where we help promote the nonprofits,
Yes.
right? They're always all the nonprofits, right? They're looking for good board members. They're looking for financial resources, and half the battle is them getting their word out so that people can recognize what is their mission. Why do we do what we do? How can we help, right? And so that's a niche that comes out of the Register, and then the other one's our weddings, right? I mean, our weddings issue is one of the biggest of the year, so we cover. And more people having destination weddings. I'm talking about here in Baton Rouge, and so we cover those, and so people and their families are able to see, what type and what styles and all the stuff, and so it's so much fun to produce.
It's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right, well, we've talked a lot about business. Tell us a little bit more about you. What do you like to do? I know you're a tennis player. What else? I mean, what?
I'm probably not as good as you because I've heard you got an A game. And I'm working on a new book, and it's based on mindset. I love reading. I love playing tennis. I love sports. I love working. I really do. I mean, to me, my work is a passion. But right now, my book project is it's kicking my butt. Because as I've gotten older, I've become a better writer, and right now I'm doing research to back up my stories, right, on the science piece of it. But it's about mindset, and actually the name of the book is called "It All Starts with Mindset,"
Okay.
and the subheading is, "If you win the game on the inside, you'll win the game on the outside," because I believe that the majority of our battles are not external; they happen here, right? What happens in life happens to all of us, and so. Again, let's just use our city, our community, right? If we would shift our mindset, it'd be amazing the things we could complete, the things we could accomplish, the things that we could achieve. And so everything starts and ends in the mind. And so I that's been a big passion of mine.
Yeah. Is there any? I know you're a big motivational guy. I mean, you motivate a lot of people. What are you reading now, or what's something that you could share with the listeners that is on your current mind, your own mind, that you've heard, not necessarily that you're creating, but you've taken in recently?
Yeah. Well, I read 2 or 3 books a month, and my wife's the big TV person and the Netflix, and so I'll sit with her if there's a good. But I'm more of a reader, so and I'm a morning guy too. I get up at 4
I knew that about you.
My wife
because I've gotten emails from you at like 4:30. I'm like, I don't look at them until about 8.
I know. Believe me. But actually, somebody asked me the other day, what's 1 or 2 of the best books you've read in the last 2 years, and I'll answer it that way. I still think The Gap in the Gain. I don't know if you read that one, right? And The Gap in the Gain. Highly recommend that book. And part of the premise is that we're always looking where we're not. That's the gap. Most of us as human beings, we have a tendency, we see other people, we see ourselves in the mirror, and we go, God, look what I'm not accomplishing. Look what I haven't done. But the gain is about, no. Don't look at yourself. Look at where you came from. Look at where you are today. Mm-hmm. Look at where you were. I just had a new employee said, hey, I've been here 4 weeks. I don't think I'm making progress. And I explained this concept. Do you think I'm doing okay in my first 4 weeks? And I said, well, let me ask you this. Are you in the same place you were 4 weeks ago? No, sir. Do you know more than you did 4 weeks ago? Yeah, you're making progress. That's the gap in the gain. And of course, that's the framework. It's a lot more of that, but that's a real good book. The other one that I love is The Relentless Elimination of Hurry. Game changer. Okay. The Relentless Elimination of Hurry. And part of the premise there, the guy starts off with some stats at the beginning, how fast the world's moving. And there's also a spiritual component because he talks about it's important to have soul care, right? Take care of your soul. But when you're in a hurry, the bulk of your mistakes in life and business happen when you're in a hurry. You're in a rush, right? So things fall through the cracks. You make mistakes. You don't double check. And even in business, the premise of the book is you got to go fast in business, but you don't want to be in a hurry because when you're in a hurry, you make mistakes. So you want to slow down so that you can go fast. it's almost a dichotomy, right, going
Right.
on in your brain. But I really love that book because I'm always in a hurry, right? But now I've learned, hey, I want to go fast, but I want to slow enough, because when you're in a hurry, you make mistakes, and you got to come back and slow down, fix the mistake so you can go back fast, right? So it's got good personal and professional application.
I'll have to look at that. I love titles like that. And it reminds me of Unreasonable Hospitality, which
Yes.
I love that book.
one.
And like you're like, Unreasonable Hospitality. It reminds me of that title that you just said. It's like it grabs you like, okay,
Yes.
I'm missing something here.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one. I'm reading it right. I'm almost done, and I have this habit. Whenever I read a book, I'll buy 10 of them and I'll give them out to clients
Yeah.
and friends. I'm almost finished reading End the Game with Zero.
Okay.
End the Game with Zero. I'll give you a quick little previous 60 seconds, and I love it. Now, I agree with about 90% of the book, but I love his premise. He says the data he has shows that people that only focus on material things, second, third, fourth homes, planes, boats, whatever,
Right.
are not as joyful or content in life as people that focus on memories and creating experiences. Could be traveling, right, going here. And he's got data. He's got science to back this up. There's several studies. And he said, most of us are looking to invest to get a return, right? Doesn't matter if it's stocks and bonds, if it's real estate. And he has a term I had never heard until that book, and this is what I wanted to tell you. It's called memory dividends.
Okay.
He said every time, when you and I go to Italy, we can come back in 10 years. We'll remember, Michael, when we went to Italy? So nobody can steal that memory. No, that memory will never break. It's something you can take to the grave. So it's the memory and the experience keeps paying dividends, because there are going to be times in your life that you remember with your wife, when you were with your children. My daughter got married 4 weeks ago in Park City, Utah, in the mountains. I'll never forget that. In 4 years, you and I could be somewhere, and I can bring up that memory, and I'll remember that special day the rest of my life. Memory dividends. And he said too many Americans are socking away their money for retirement, and they get to retirement and they're old, they're decrepit, they can't travel, they can't do the things that they always wanted to do. And his premise is, hey man, enjoy the fruits of your labor right now.
There you go.
Man, as you live, baby. The purpose of life is to live, right? So don't just exist, right, for someday syndrome, but do it now, man. Create those experiences and memories, right? Because you're going to have those the rest of your life.
We got to end it right there, because that is what Julio Melara is all about. That's the perfect ending to this podcast, man. Thank you for who you are.
I appreciate
it.
you.
It ain't just me saying it. There's a lot of people that love you, and
Thank you.
Baton Rouge loves you
Thank
and
you
needs
so
you.
much. Appreciate it.
We always end this with, what does it feel like for Julio Melara to be a Baton Rougean, not a New Orleanian anymore?
Fortunate and blessed. Fortunate and blessed, man. We have a great community for all the things that we've been talking about, the people, the food, the culture. We got challenges, but hey, if it was easy, they'd all be doing it, man. It's just part of it. That's why we live, to solve problems.
Yep. Finally, who do you want to pass the baton to?
Man, now that I have the essence of your podcast, I tell you, I'm going to pass it to Kenny Wynn, who wants to make Baton Rouge the creative capital of the South.
I love it.
And I single-handedly, my daughter was going to move out to L.A., and he talked her into staying to Baton Rouge, and he talked her into why she wouldn't listen to Daddy, right? But she had to listen to somebody else about the transformative leadership that she could help Baton Rouge. And so I think Kenny Wynn.
Kenny Wynn, I'm coming for you. Julio Melara, thank you so much for being on Alligator Shoes. There you go. It's another one. Alligator Shoes wrapped up. Please tell your friends about us. Keep on spreading the good word about Baton Rouge. Let them know. Talk it up.
Yes.
No more bad talking. We in a good spot when it's only going to get better. See you next time.
I like crawfish, I like rice, and I like girls that treat you nice. I'm gonna find me one in Baton